Shalom, everyone, and excited to have this opportunity to reach out and to share some words in chinuch, and also to give a big two thumbs up to epic parenting. That they should have a lot of atzlocha in helping all the families of Olim raising their kids and the challenges that come with growing up in Eretz Yisrael. Something that's particularly close to my heart, moving to Israel, is that in the years of raising teenagers, it was of a particular challenge to focus more on our kid than focus on the community. Obviously, there was pretty extreme pressure in two ways. One is having a non-observant background already adds quite a bit to one's concerns about what people are thinking of you and how you're coming off to others. And the other is the issue of just in general, like you're the olim, you're the odd guy out, you're the new people, the newbies. And so it was kind of a double whammy with us raising our kids. So the issues like this, what's our bigger concern? Is our bigger concern how our child's doing, or is the bigger concern what the community thinks? So what I'd like to do is, first of all, say that if our concern is more about the community, so then we're literally poisoning our kids. They sense it vibrationally. It has nothing to do with what you say. It is a vibrational reality. You got to clean it out, got to clean that out, and get yourself vibrationally clean with the kids, so they're not sensing anything like that. And you should know that the good kid is the one who suffers the most. It's your Avram, meaning your Yitzchak Avinu kid suffers the most, while your Avram Avinu kid, who might test your idolatry and maybe break your idols altogether, they're the ones that's going to be okay in the end, because they'll leave. They'll just go find healing elsewhere where they can be feeling proper acceptance and care for themselves. They'll just go find their nutrients, their sustenance of love and unconditional acceptance. So, and again, it's the good kid, so to speak, the Yitzchak, who's realizes it's not even worth it, like just follow orders and don't get yourself in trouble, so that you can survive your upbringing. But the problem with the Yitzchaks are that their hearts die inside. They realize that their main oxygen source, which is unconditional love, has been cut off, and they become quite numb in relationships later, and it dooms them to a lot of different things that they would unlikely break through, though you can break through it. That's a big part of my work, is helping people break through that stuff. Meanwhile, let's give over that. Let's get the details. So here are the details how to do this. So there's this is one of the most famous excerpts, even though it has nothing to do with the Possibly seminar, but this is probably one of the most famous parts of the seminar, and that is that there is something called acceptance and there's something called approval. Acceptance, approval. Acceptance means you're accepted no matter what. Approval means that there's standards of behavior. Acceptance means that if I lived your life, you would be me. And if I lived your life, I would be you. And we're all the sum total of our life experience. And so I can accept you, you can accept me. Approval means there's standards of approval. You either meet the standards or you don't. You meet them or you don't. A kashrus, you meet the standard or you lose your tu'udah. I may love the owner of the restaurant, meaning if I were a mashgiach kashrus, I accept him no matter what. Even if he bought the wrong paprika for his restaurant, and I walk out with his te'uda, I'm still going to the bar mitzvah of his kid tonight. I'm still gonna, help him learn how to lane. I still love him. And acceptance leads to love. Think about the people you love are the people who accept you. The people you don't like, putting it nicely. Okay, let's say it. The people you hate. And you should be blessed. Maybe use this as a trick to no longer hate, because hating a Jew is forbidden. But the people you hate are the people you really suspect don't accept you for who you are. That's really how it works for you. And if you're really honest about it. And the biggest proof of it is if you found out later that person really holds of you, you would drop all your issues with that person immediately, because your real issue wasn't the issues you're saying about them, but rather it's whether you're accepted or not. Okay, now we got acceptance, we got approval, and what happens is they get blurred. You wind up only accepting the people you approve of. And that's called conditional love. Conditional love is when to get my love, you have to X. You have to do A, B, and C, and then you get the love, then you get the acceptance. And now, obviously, we should be working on that in general with our fellow Jew, but when it comes to our kids, it's essential. Otherwise, they get that poisonous vibration. It just goes into them, and then, then you're into years of healing after such a thing. Now, again, so we got acceptance and we got approval. Approval means standards. Now, raising kids, let's get practical here. You send down the vibration of you're accepted no matter what. And on the other side is the approval, is that we have high standards. These are the standards. Meet them or get beaten. Just kidding. Meet them or you're going to suffer consequences. But I'm always communicating both vibrationally and verbally that you're amazing. So maybe I could say, if I punished a kid, I would say, what you did was beneath you. What you did was beneath you. You're so special. You're so holy, so amazing. That behavior was beneath. That behavior of doing, was below our standards of getting our approval. However, who you are is awesome and beloved, and we hold of you forever. We got your back to the end of the earth, no matter what you do. Now, that's two different vibrational energies that one is, these are the standards, and the other is you're accepted no matter what. And that's the balance. It's not even a balance. You have to do both. You have to have good standards, otherwise your kids are going to be lame. And you have to have high level of acceptance. So I'll give you two examples, one more in depth than the other. Let's start with the simple one. Is I hold my kids when they're little and I say, Yankee, I love you no matter what. And Yankee says, I know, Tati. I said, but Yankee, I really, really love you. I love you no matter what. He said, I know, Tati. I said, Yankee, I love you if you'll be a tzaddik when you're older. He says, I know, Tati. I said, Yankee, even if chas v'sholom, you'd be a Russia, I'll still love you. That's never going to change. I will always love you. When my kids turn a little older, like they go 13, 12, 13, 14, I see they're starting to turn into adults. I let them know that, there's a lot of choices ahead of you. There's some choices that will give us a lot of nachas. There's plenty of choices that won't. We're never going to stop loving you. You want to do that before their Yetzer Hara kicks in a big way as teenagers. So you let them know young that they're loved no matter what. There's choices in front of you, and you'll make those choices. You're loved no matter what. We will always accept you. We will get your back to the end of the world. Story number two is more about that age. I had a 13-year-old son. He was already in Yeshiva Katana, turning 14 soon. And I started noticing that he's going later and later each day to the yeshiva. And this was a rough yeshiva. This was Pinsk Karlin before they had their new building. So it was like no windows. If a kid even spoke to you from an older class, he would get embarrassed publicly so that he wouldn't talk to you. It was a very unhealthy situation going on over there. And we're going back like 15 years ago now. Anyway, I noticed he's going later and later. Then I started noticing he's not going at all. Then I started noticing he's not wearing his rekel, his long suit jacket. And then later I started noticing he's not really wearing his hat anymore. And then I was like, oh my gosh, these things haven't moved. I need help. So I started getting eights after eights after eights, lots of eights. Every eights was worse than the next. I mean, it was just like a trail of bad eights. Finally, I went to Rav Noah Horlowick, Shlita, who lives on Saratskin. He looks at my wife, blushing, and he says, "You're his parents. Nobody knows better than you. You know better than anybody. You got this." And so we started realizing, oh my gosh, we have breached our contract with the angels. That when we were pregnant with him, and this is my own medrash, I call it the possible medrash, when the angels said, you got to promise that this child when he's born, we'll have one address where he is accepted no matter what. That should be your address. Sign here, and the parents sign. And then, of course, I think it's the same angel that touches the baby who forgets all the Torah. They sign, and then the parents forget that they had signed. And then all of a sudden, the pressures of life, the pressures of the looking good for the neighbors, and the community, those kick in. And then it's just total disaster vibrationally, as we said. Anyway, so what I did was I went around to schools and I took pictures of campuses all the way to, modern Orthodox campuses, every campus, took pictures of various campuses, met with principals. And then my wife and I came with the camera, when my son was going to sleep, he's in his bunk bed. So he's about our eye level. And we go into him and we both cried and we did tshuva shalema for what we had done. And I still remember after we did our tshuva crying that we made the pressure we were feeling to be fit into the community more important than you. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. We breached our contract with what it is to be parents, and we're sorry. And then I'll never forget it. His face the glow on his face from my camera, screen shining on his face when I showed him the different campuses, the palm trees, and these were nice campuses. His eyes were like, what? And I told him, like, I met with the principals. This is what's involved with those schools. This is what it would take to go to those schools. And anyway, the next morning I get up, we get the kids out. I come back from davening later, and I just had time to start the process of waking up my son. I went into his room. He wasn't there. Look for his hat, his record, not there. His tefillin, not there. Okay. Later, when I went upstairs to the base midrash over my house, someone said, "Oh yeah, I saw your son." He said, "Dash," means I saw drishat shalom, meaning regards from your son. Not that my son gave him regards, but he said he saw him at 6:30 in the morning in the mikvah. My son just went right back to Pinsk Karlin, Yeshiva Katana. I got a call 7 months later from the mashgiach who'd been there for like 30 years. The mashgiach said that he had never in all his years as mashgiach, he'd never seen a boy keep his head inside the Gemara for that many hours straight. My son put his head in the Gemara for 7 hours straight without looking up. It's not like 15 years later, he's still learning full time. We got lucky, or maybe we didn't get lucky. Maybe we did something right for a change. And we did the tshuva blurring acceptance and approval. You also have to be very careful because secular society, which beckons all the time these kids who are hurt, the secular society is always offering acceptance. Now, of course, they have it blurred the other way. They think not only you got to accept everyone, you got to approve of everyone, and there's no standards at all. They have the opposite problem. That's the left, liberal, progressive, Western perspective that there's no right or wrong. It's the exact opposite issue. But our issue is high standards, and therefore we don't wind up accepting people who don't meet our standards. So clean it out, get it straight, separate these two things. If they don't have the same definition, don't blur them. They are separate subjects. Treat them as such. Do the tshuva that's necessary. Shift the vibration for your home. And please God, you'll laugh your way to the bank. Tzlacha Rabba, blessings to everyone. And may we all be seeing nachas and a lot of blessing to this organization, that they should be matzliach bigadol. All the best. Shalom, shalom.